And you can plug the Nixie tubes into the socket. If it's not the same pin pattern, there's connectors in the front, and so that you can kind of patch in any Nixie tube, and you can test one element at a time too. If you can fit it into the socket, as you see, it'll cycle through the whole thing.
Countdown.
So that's the Nixie tester.
Good on an airplane.
The other, not really a tester, but kind of in a way too, it kind of acts as a tester. I've had about 22 testers, including Amplitrex. And this is, I'll consider this kind of a poor man's Amplitrex. And it's a bias adapter for guitar amp that plugs into a multimeter. And what makes it really useful is that it measures plate current. And so you can really accurately match power tubes. And then you can very accurately measure the gain and the transconductance if you do a little math. But you can, this is way more accurate than most Hickok testers. Like, I mean, you laugh, but because it's testing them at real operating voltages. And I ordered this locally. This is from Eurotubes. It's I think they're made here in Portland. And this was about $25. That was it.
Well, I can't say I have a whole lot of interest in tube testers, but a couple of months ago, one came up for auction and it was cheap, so I bought it. This is a Radio City Products tube tester. Radio City Products is kind of interesting in that it started in 1931 or 2, which I think you agree is not a good time to start up a manufacturer in the United States. They started out making an adapter for tubes for other tube testers. So if your tube tester didn't have the right socket, you would use this universal adapter. But by 1934, the time this came out, they were actually making, by this time, this was a 304. They've made a 102, a 103, and a 104. And it's just a regular emission tester, but it's kind of interesting in that by the end of the 40s, of course, needed more than octal tubes. So they made this nifty little adapter. This is an upgrade to allow you to test 12AX7s and so on, mini tubes. But what I found interesting is there's a little socket here. And I said to myself, they got a transistor tester in it, it's nifty. And I realized when I looked on the internet, this thing was made in 1947. And it's doubtful that they were testing transistors in 1947 unless they had crystal balls. So this was actually for testing pencil tubes or peanut tubes, the ones with the flexible leads on them, including the notorious 1AN6 that is conspiracy theory level stuff. But just in general, it seems to be kind of in the process of redoing it. There was all of one wax capacitor in there I replaced, and it looks like there's a dog bone that's bad, and the line cord needed to be replaced. But the interesting thing about this upgrade is that it plugs in to the octal socket. And so you can test your minis just as if they were octals on ice. Okay, that's about it.
Okay, I was a little late getting here. I stopped by Bob Walters and picked this up just before the meeting. This is a Weston 788/Navy OD3 tube tester. I guess it's the Navy's version of a quick tester. There are individual patch tables that need to run to each one of these tube sockets is numbered, so it tests from 4-pin up through octals, and it even tests your the high frequency 900 series tubes for FM and high frequency use. But you have to put in up to 8 patch cords for each tube you want to test, and you can imagine it's not a real rapid. It's not like the card check testers or any of those. But this one doesn't work right now. Bob couldn't remember what was wrong with it, so it's going to be a project. Hopefully, get up within a couple of months. But real interesting technology, and I think it's kind of bulletproof. We'll find out when we get it repaired. So that's about all I know about it right now, though.
Okay, next up for Tech Talks, we have Sid. Do you have an update? Well, yes, you were supposed to do something, right, for Bluetooth, but that's been postponed. You're up again.
Just an update on the transmitters, the Yours transmitter project. How many of you have the transmitter? I'm just curious, I lost track. Wow. We're just about tapped out here. That's my dilemma. I put enough kits together, we got like 2 or 3 left in the box. If anybody was not on the list for today, there's a couple available. There's also a list on the counter for January. That'll be the next availability will be in January. I've got 10 boards left besides what's in the box there. So if you want to be guaranteed a kit, then I would suggest maybe putting your name on the list for January. On the cases, I'm hoping to have cases available in January or February at the latest. I've had my case at a metal shop on the coast near where I live. After a month, I asked them, well, what's the progress on the cases? And they said, well, we haven't started yet. So I went right over there and took my sample back home. I took it to another metal shop in Tillman, and he said, well, he'd like to take this on. What he's going to do is he's going to give me an estimate on an 8x10 sheet of aluminum, and he's just going to cut the blanks, and I can take them home and bend them and punch them, and we'll have cases. That's the plan. Complete with hardware. If we can keep the price down below $20, $15 to $20, that's what I want to go with. We'll give it a shot. I think it'll be just as good as the factory case. I'm going to punch the cases to make these new add-ons available, like the LEDs, the power LEDs, and the tuning LEDs. I'll have those pre-punched in the front of the panel, and that's all I can say about that. Any questions on the transmitter?
You have those now, the LEDs?
I've got the upgrade kits for $2. Yes. And in that $2 case or package, you get a tuner capacitor, filter cap to take away that last bit of hum from your power supplies. So you get the hum filter, the red, the green LEDs with the sockets. You've got all the electronics for the red tuner, the antenna tuner. That includes a diode, an LED, and an inductor. And all the wiring and such, it's all in the package for $2. That's for the original NFJ kits. Now your new kits that you purchased today, the version 5, it's got onboard support. Everything is there. You just hook up your LED wiring, and you're all done. So anyway, did everybody get an update on their instructions for the version 5? It should have been mailed to everybody that was on the email list. If not, just contact me and I'll get you a copy. If any issues come up, give me a call. I'll walk you through any building problems. My dilemma is how many more boards do we really want? We have 10 more available. I'm going to make sure we have 10 kits in January. But should we order any more boards, any more inventory? That's my dilemma. There's also been an inquiry from the Seattle Club. They want these transmitters. I don't know what to do about that. I just thought I'd bring that up. That's not the reason that we're doing this project, it's just for our members, that was the only reason we started this. So anyway, with that, I guess I'll hand it back to, any other questions?
What's the range for the broadcast?
Oh, it's in probably between 100 and 200 feet, full power. It's got quite a bit of power.
You go 200 feet,
I'm not gonna guarantee 200 feet,
150?
probably. Whole house.
I have a friend who wants one. He just wants to, he's got a big yard, big backyard, he likes to have parties and stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, this will
He
cover
wants to
that.
set a few radios out there
Yeah.
and be able to go from his turntable in the house.
I've got mine in my shop, which is an external building. So all through the shop, and that's shielded with all my metal junk, right? So it's shielded. All through the shop, all through my house, all through my property. It's got quite a bit of power, depending on how you play with the antennas. Whenever you move your antenna, you've got to retune your antenna tuner. Whenever you change frequency, you have to retune your antenna tuner. That's the reason why we have the red LED, to make it easier to tune. Yes, you can turn your screw until you get the loudest signal, but it's not as scientific as actually looking at that LED. So, any other questions? Thank you. Oh, I do appreciate all of your warm thank yous for the project. It really, Tom and I have worked on this project, Tom Mayfield and myself. We appreciate the accolades we've gotten. Really do. Thank you so much.
Yes? Oh, for sure. All right.
I'm sorry we cut into the program here, but, Monday's gonna be Veterans Day, and I'm gonna be down on the Blueback submarine all day, Monday from probably 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And for all the veterans that wanna come down, they come down and tour the submarine, or the public is invited to come down. So,
Is it free to the vets?
it's free to the vets. The public, I can kind of eliminate some of the fees. If you go with me, I'll give you a tour, it doesn't cost you anything. So, I'll be down there all day. So if anybody wants to come down to Blueback down there by Yomsi, yeah.
Where's this at again?
The tour of the Blueback submarine. Over Yomsi. You wanna take?
Omsi?
It's a
The one that's welded to the pier?
What's that?
The one that's welded to the pier?
Yeah, but still they can break away though. But, so I'm gonna be a radio walk around there, so any of the vets there that are gonna be on ham radios, I'm gonna be on 20 meters, 14,343 frequency. We're gonna be transmitting all of them down the west coast, over on the east coast. We have a big 1,000-watt transmitter, so we can get out and talk to the people all over.
What time?
It's gonna be, you can come about 10 o'clock, and I can give you a tour of the submarine.
What time is the broadcast, or
We're gonna start at 7 in the morning.
starts at 7, the transmission?
Yeah, we're gonna go all day till 3 in the afternoon.
And 20 meters?
20 meters.
Okay. What was the frequency again?
14,343.
Okay.
So then the hams that wanna get in on it, they can listen to what we're talking about.
What's the pulse rate?
That's, K7 SUV. Something, you know. So, yeah, that's what our call there is. Okay,
Thank you, Robbie. I know that for OMSI, we wanted to build a theremin for 2019, and Bruce has graciously brought one in. Bruce, would you like to talk more about that?
So I'm going to talk mainly about how this one is constructed. And so I have some schematics here, A to Z.
The volume control on that side. Did you turn it off? Yeah, you have to do
I
both
was just
sides.
told last night it would be
So-
good to have this, so I don't have a lot of history on the theremin. But basically, back in the mid-20s, Russian designed this theremin. And in the later 20s, RCA made the theremin. These were fairly large consoles. And they didn't sell that many. I mean, small hundreds, I would guess. One thing that, if you've ever tried, in fact, do we have a theremin operator here? It's very difficult to make any really nice, clean music out of that. There's a lot of movies that use a theremin in it.
Star Trek.
PBS, yeah, Star Trek. PBS has got some programs that I can't remember the name of it, that basically uses it as their entry. But anyway, the schematics get passed around?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of describe this a little bit here. And what you really have in the upper portion here is where the antenna is. That's a variable oscillator, and it changes frequency by your capacitance as you get closer to that particular antenna. Below that is a fixed frequency oscillator, and we can kind of look at this as a superhet in a fashion. You have an LO, which is fixed oscillator, local oscillator, and you have the antenna oscillator. And those two then go into the mixer tube, and basically you come out with an IF. In this case, we're not talking like 455 kilohertz, but the two oscillators are very close together, so when they beat, you actually end up with an audio signal that comes out. Below that is, on the bottom portion there, is basically how to control the volume. Here you've got an oscillator that's running around 455 kilohertz, going through a ceramic filter, gets amplified, and then fed into a detector, basically, the rectifier. In this case, it's kind of like an AGC voltage that you would get from your normal superhet. So as you get close to 455 kilohertz, going through the ceramic filter, you then end up generating a negative bias on the output tube, or the voltage control amplifier. And so as you pull the frequency off, then that voltage goes back to nearly zero, and the amplifier is going at full gain. I know this is fast. Any questions?
And just an addition, if I'm not, and I could be mistaken, but Hollywood had a theremin that the level was controlled by the hand, but the other was controlled by a keyboard.
Oh.
And that was, they got Mr. Moog in that genre, because they had, Throckmorton, who was the lady who was the master, she was a violinist, and she had her hand to where she could play on whole octave just by moving her fingers.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have to move her hand, but she did do the volume with the other hand. And they didn't, well, she wasn't living at that time, and so but that's somewhat hearsay, but it isn't.
Yeah. So it's really kind of the start of synthesis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, the one we have back here, my brother's son built that about 15 years ago, and I helped him with that. And so anyway, we can borrow that if we want to use it for Make It Fair. I guess back up a little bit, and part of that was we thought kids would be interested in playing with that at the Maker Fair and get them interested. Yes?
Do you have coil data or the standard RF?
Actually, the guy that's on that, list there, you can go up on the web, and he has a parts list, so that you can go from there. And I think we just used any 1 millihenry coil to actually do that. I don't know whether we ordered the specific part. Any other questions?
I just got a statement. Oh, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, there's a DVD out about Theremin, and it turns out he was a Russian spy.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I just had a little comment to make that I have the Popular Electronics that actually has a kit to build one too. So if anybody needs those, let me know. I have them in digital form. I can email them to you.
That was the solid state one, right?
No, these are tube ones. There's two tube ones from 1961, and the other one's in 1959. Popular Electronics.
But they had one from the seventies, solid state one.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. They may have a lot more after that, but the tube ones. And a couple people have built them on the internet, so there's a little modifications. Like I said, made a little mistakes and things. But
Yeah, in the past, I made one when I was a kid with vacuum tubes.
oh,
And in this case, it's all 1280 here in this command. Mine was really using mixer tubes to mix the signal. Okay?
Bobby, Mark, do you guys have an update on the Theremin project? Mark?
No, not yet. Not really.
Okay, because there were some club members that were looking into building one, so I just was wondering the progress.
About halfway.
Halfway through? Wow. great.
that's progress.
Yes.
Can I make a little announcement? It's probably meaningless, but anybody interested for $7, this projector, which is an $1,800 unit, and it works. I need
I'll buy
to
it from
get rid of it.
I'll buy it from you.
Huh?
I'll buy it from you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, does anyone have any other business, any comments, anything else? Yes.
One, 1951, probably dashboard radio, going, $80. Yours.
Crosley dashboard, big light radio. $80. Yes.
I guess it's off the subject, but, there's a Holiday Express train, 4449, Oaks Park, the day after Thanksgiving, through, pretty much through December. Part of the time I will be playing Santa. If anybody wants to bring their grandkids down or whatever.
It's the daylight.
Anyway, it's the Holiday Express. You can Google probably that, Oaks Park, after Thanksgiving.
That's the real steam train,
Yeah.
steam train or not?
Steam train.
4449.
Which is the daylight, and it also was the Freedom Train from '76.
It was the Freedom Train in '76. And they have it parked down there in the garage across from Omsey most of the time. And the price, I think, is around $20. But there are packages like the adults and kids things. But, yeah.
The train gonna move?
I'm sorry?
The train going to move?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's operating.
You'll load at Oaks Park, and I think it goes forward over to the street and stops, then it goes backwards, almost to Omsey. It doesn't go out on the street where the cars are, it stops, and then it goes back, and then unloads. And I'll be doing 3 trains, 10, 11, and 12, on the day after Thanksgiving, and then another imposter start takes over. And then I do other weekends too at different times, so, but it's a fun thing, even if you're grown up, it's a fun ride. You see all the little kiddies and they're all excited, it's great.
Okay, thank you, Santa. Thank you.
What is the club going to do with the donation?
Well, we were given those in hopes that we would come out to a repair clinic to do that, so that's.
Have these stored here? Or?
Yes, we'll have to store them in our locker here.
We should test them on those tube testers right now.
Sure, here, go ahead. If there isn't any other business, meeting is adjourned.